Hi everyone, welcome back to Corporate Dakota, the place where we figure out if a company is about to hit it big or, well, not so much. Today we are diving into Navitas Semiconductor's latest report, if their future looks as bright as their chips or if they're facing some tough times. Scroll kilt. Hindoptics Etz's quarterly report, pursuant to Section 13. Or 15D of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, Fatux. Ball Trumdally period ended Ev2 June 30, 2020, 2020, 2020, 2020, 2020, 2020, 2020, 2025. Before we jump into the numbers, if you like getting clear insights into what really drives a company, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Also, we've got a great community over on Discord. The link is in the description below so you can join the conversation there too. This report covers the period ending June 30th, 2025, giving us a look at their recent performance. Scrolling around hands, Eki Belly are cares and cash acid sets search in thousands except shares and par value. Dick Spear exhibited trapchi can stats, Cade Sear, and thousands except shares and par value. Cakes of a declave NT3 absentitias and tune sir. The safe sir, Haken June 30, 2020-25. That's a D jump from about $87 million. At the end of June 2020-25, CATG Chefixty Tutor 2, XTD, NC 2020T, TT 2025, Sexexig Do, Chufred 2, HED, TT 2025. That's a big jump from about $87 million at the end of the previous year. This increase is largely thanks to their stock sales, which brought in around 29 hours in new cash, Diro and TT Jai AT Jachas. The sugar jumped from about $87 million at the end of the previous year. This increase is largely thanks to their stock sales, which brought in around $100 million in new cash. Sivil Temzu 1 Temzu on Siv 4 Savek Siv Ketsdek Tefti 1 Siv D and Siv there CT2 2 Etsy Sijet Finances Edsi 52 Pensi 50 Sefti Gets Nancy Edsi Setsi 50 Set Sensi Deception 50 and Nancy CC. Crow capsos, or as they call it, net revenue in dollars, ties feed 7 dents, capture set tat trait 5 million, top 7 tap 2, sef 2, sef 2, try 2, set camp temps affitations. Undorted chapter, try 2, chapter, try 2, sem 2 for 3 months. Ended June 30, FISA cap tray amount. Let's talk about sales, or as they call it, net revenues. For the 3 months ended June 30, Ectes HTG Zets I2TA HTX. Drop TT HTTVU all 6 year to try to sef TT 2000 sec. FT Shu 30T FTI TT choose F2 TJ Drew TT Saji choose to TTB sets XC AGT 423 Joses XH dot sake Jesus at Java to JTBT Defty Daf 2 to JTDG JJ Sheffron 443 Thankalo net revenues. For the 3 months ending June 2025, revenues were 14.6 Nelia G H JTAB 4 said. Telfo 2 Apple 4 sets months of the year, sales fell from 433. Scroll key tell, loss gain from change in fair value of earnout liabilities. Upswitch trichitis. Tiggs to T after T after T sis. T NSD 2T77 AT54 Chatachi takes T the value of future payments they might owed has gone down significantly and yuhash da. Basically, the value of future payments they might owe has gone down significantly and accounting rules make them recorded as a loss. This makes their overall loss before taxes look much bigger than it would be from just operations. The Chrome to VRP 1 T to 1 Sivan 1951 DUS is where things get a bit wild. While sales are down, the company reported a massive loss of $28 million from changes in the fair value of their earnout liabilities in the last 3 months. This is compared to a gain of about $7.5 million in the same period last year. Basically, the value of future payments they might. Scroll after power or opera cents to chapter to deficit E. Tefter dust to defty da 4 975 that's sever tefty defty T tefty defty bixit tefty sefty jefty tefty chefsis sis acidot sefset tichu T tefty dal 60 tasef devanite 6 inch GFFT 60 tichu sis have sever HC exigit dixit dot zer senti dot sef faith that since of tefsi vs h did sef say cdt chefsi chichi tefji Anxiety, Dexity Tepsur, Dexivocity Savso, Tyseria T, DT, Detsu, the Q, TP Tep, Dexit, Isati, the teacher absets was nearly 4 8 absets. Pardon on 4 Fountain stocks 1 June 3025 and 27 ends of starters equal 1020 stop and or 10 Pluton move the carbon is in 77. You might lose to Samson stock remote plans paid internally. Samson producer. Servitu. So kaiset kanse goxing to tontebents d consult attack flow k unaudited kensol cash flow t unaudited tet va k for cap t bit tef tabo take come 6 months. Ended June 30 ecstasy 8k. Double 6 months ended June 30th exoclado 2000 tech egg t exio exi a t d dk terapi da fit t flop a t dexi t dkxu dits is that while they reported a larger net loss. This was heavily affected by the 2000 tej t exit egg t exit t exit table 2 sex effects is at 2 to 4 d 6 t egg t d 6 year exi at d fit t d dignitas is at. While they reported a larger net loss, this was heavily affected by those 2699 egod exit etc. Dibble tibble in thou's liability. If we look past that, the core operations are actually consuming less cash compared to last year 2024. They used 24 tide of bly 60 that told you last year 2 triple siv. Dark Kevel 2 auto 6,009 I liability. If we look scroll Kithanet cash provided by financing activities tapped to 40 tapped TT tipty TT tip to tipsty T tip to 2C T tip to tap to tiv fund. Where did the cash come from? Financing activities provided over $98 million in the first half of 2025. This is massively up from just $2.2 million last year. That huge increase is almost entirely from those stock sales, which brought in that $100 million we saw earlier. This shows they are actively raising capital to fund their operations. Scrolls Navitas Semiconductor and factionments Kaus presented financial statements Kabul unaudited Temsida Company use and for undaudited Chemsy generation power supplies into incorporating the designs, develops and markets next generation power semiconductors including gallium nitride for integrated circuit SMICs, silicon carbide SENC, generation power semiconductors including the company's products may be used in a wide variety of applications including fast chargers for navigators and saving energy. They designed these chips and then powered semicon devices and associated high-speed silicon system controllers and digital isolators used in power conversion and charging power to the manufacturing of its chips and packaging power semiconductors. Scroll detected devices and associated high-speed silicon system controllers and digital ICs and associated high-speed silicon system controllers and digital isolators used in power convergy. The company presently operates as a product design house that contracts the manufacturing of the company itself is all about semiconductor specifics and IC silicon Zephyr Scroll to Fiber Scroll for execution of at the market agreement and on March 19, 2025. The company entered into an open market sale agreement Camtan to offerings through Jefferies as sales a Jefferies LL011 per share from time to time in at the market share from time to time in at the market for share from time to time in at the market to MCO or 1 TAFA per share from time to time and at the market fact MH offerings through Jefferies as sales agent. The company subsequently completed 2 ATM offerings, ACTA per share from time to time in at the market, SHAT MEJS offerings through Jefferies as sales agent pursuant to which 2T697 SIVE 2 as of June 30, 2002 South Austrian sold pursuant to 22 ATM offerings, SEPTE M1 and ATM2M under each of ATM1 and ATM2 respectively completed 21000 at Jeffer per share from Pathway 10 to the company may from time to time offer and sell shares having an aggregate offering price of up to $50 million worth of their stock through what's called an at the market offering. They did 2 of these. Coldy 25, the company complete scroll thinvita dots to consequency. Can dense to dots to consolidated financial statements can to end or significant accounting. Pew to unaudited TEMC to Campbell significant accounting. 2 N November 22 Apple significant 2 Temps Sanctus. Term disaggregation disclosures which mandates enhanced disclosure of specific costs and expenses within the notes to the financial statements. The guidance is effective for annual reporting periods beginning after December 15 to Ratsiniscacant. Accounting is evaluating the impact that this ASU will have on the presentation of its consolidated financial statements. The guidance is effective for annual reporting periods beginning after December 15, 2026 and interim periods within annual reporting period before the FASB issued ASU notification per sync today. OSHRO in November 2024 from the Financial Accounting Standards Board in November 2024 from the Financial Accounting Standards Board, or FASB, that wants companies to break down their costs even more. It's not impacting them right now, but shows they are staying on top of financial reporting changes for Scroll Q 310 accounts. Traceable trade. Net consists of the following in thousands. It scrolls. Let's check out their accounts receivable numbers. At the end of June 2025, they had about $12.5 million in accounts receivable, slightly down from $12.6 million at the end of last year. The allowance for credit losses, which is money they don't expect to collect, also saw a jump from $145,000 to $812.6 million at the end of last year. The allowance for credit losses, which is money they don't expect to collect, also saw a jump from $105,000 to $885,000 to $885,000 to $885,000 to $885,000 to $80,085,000 to $80,085,000 to $80,085,000. This could suggest they are being more cautious, or that some customers might be struggling. Scroll order inventories consist of the following in thousands. After scroll inventories are pretty stable, showing around $15.1 million at the end of June 2025. Very close to the $15.5 million at the end of June 2025. Very close to the $15.5 million at the close of last year. This suggests they are managing their stock levels pretty well, not letting too much sit idle. Scroll key 5, property and equipment net consist of the following in thousands, XC scroll fee, and equipment net consist of the following in thousands. True scroll C property and equipment is also fairly consistent, around $14.5 million compared to $15.4 million last year. Most of the value here is in computers and other equipment. They are not a company that invests heavily in physical assets. Scroll KIF 6 CAF at fair value of financial assets and liability twos. The accounting guidance on fair value measurements clarifies that fair value is an exit price representing the amount that would be received to sell an asset or paid to transfer a liability in an orderly transaction between market participants. As such, fair value is a market-based measurement that should be determined based on assumptions that market participants would use in pricing an asset or liability. As a basis for considering such assumptions, the guidance establishes a three-tier value hierarchy which priorities that company to develop its own assumptions that market participants would use in pricing an asset or liability. As a basis for considering such assumptions, the guidance establishes a three-tier value hierarchy which prioritizes the inputs used in measuring fair value as follows. The accounting guidance on fair value as follows: the company to develop its own assumptions. This hierarchy requires the company to use observable market data which requires the company to develop its own assumptions. This hierarchy requires the company to use observable market data which requires the company to develop its own assumptions. This hierarchy requires the company to use UC level 3 inputs the 2020 UDC's or hierarchy for financial liabilities as of June 30, 2020 to 10,000 SAS and Samson. Further, when to T, Fidra Trichu Septi, that's level 3 can dash Tevti tax up dice level 3 Zepti taps T tap to Tevti taps to Ticey level 3 Exi dash Tevti Septi Ange 2 10. This is how to using level 3 inputs. This how do you chep Tevti tap trap level ring ash all 80 dash Tevti dapsi tef SAS. Total level 3 Exi da. Totos Exi debas, Pelo cover level 3 if you do Jai. Total level 3 of the fair value hierarchy during this after side jaw. For every level 1 GOA and 2 DAP 2T, Sef 2 DAP 2 Cheffer Dra, level 3 DD Scroll 5 7. Goodwill and intangibles are. Goodwill represents the excess of the consideration transferred over the estimated fair value of assets acquired and liabilities assumed in a business combination. Intangible assets are measured at their respective fair values as of the acquisition date, and Safan Mayers may be up to F2 APSU 1 equative be subject to adjustment within the measurement period, which quoted after 1 equative be up to SU $2020 a year from in-process research and development to develop technology as the project was completed and placed into service if trieft. There were no changes to goodwill during the 3 and 6 months ended June 30th, more likely than not, that the assets are impaired as of the annual measurement date of September 30, 2024. The fair market value of the company's stock price remains above carrying value, and no indicators of impairment are present as of June 30, 2025. In the first quarter of 2025, the company transferred $1.2 million FICs attested for impairment annually, or more frequently if event. The Compakunanai has entered into operating leases primarily for commercial buildings and a finance lease for equipment. As of 2 June 30, 2025, SE noted June 30, 2025. SEFTU June 30, 25, ISA 2, no operating or finance lease agreements contain economic penalties for the company to extend SEM site at e-lease. And it is not reasonably certain the company will exercise these extension options. Additionally, lease agreements do not contain material residual value guarantees or material restrictive covenants. And IF Scroll PEV, they have some operating lease obligations primarily for office spaces. The total lease liabilities come out to about $7 million when you account for future payments and imputed interest. The lease terms remaining are generally short, averaging around 3 to 4 years. Scroll-9 compensation equity. Incentive plans captured the Navitas Semiconductor equity. Incentive plan initially adopted by the company's board of directors on August 5, 2020. Equity incentive plan initially adopted by the company's board of directors on August 5, 2020, as an amendment and restatement of the 2020 plan provides for the grant of incentive stock options, non-statutory stock options, restricted stock awards, restricted stock unit, in RSU in-off awards, stock appreciation rights, and other stock awards to employees directors on August 5, 2020 as an amendment and restated as the amended and restated as the amended and restated. Navitas Semiconductor cause et Hirsen rights and other stock awards to employees, directors, and AOI consultants. Pursuant to the 2020 plan, the exercise price for incentive stock options and non-statutory stock options is generally at least 100% of the fair market value of the underlying shares on the date of grant, subject to earlier termination upon an optionee's cessation of Scrollkift Countersearch XETT tip to flevi dot tis it ditu ek is ETT2 tipped etil dek eve tifties it d sekti zipti did beat itis it dit it difflidin 91 tifra. Dip tip tiv leaving you did hit to get to tasty varieties. If if these 50 take tiv leaving says 80 dt 50 ts dtc tefty leaving 60 tt 60 cc 60 tc 1 t 60 t 60 t 60 60 t 50 6 tefc ts bcc 60 c 50 50 50 ts 60 7 t 60 60 60 serta 6 l 60 setter d cell 60 60 c tt at csc. A big part of this reduction is related to a key executive leaving T. Scrollkiff, the company awarded a total of TIL E 6,500,000, TIL LTIP options, 2,000 T2 to certain A2s to certain members of senior management on December 229, TIP options, ABEX 2 to certain members of senior management on December 29, 2021, pursuant to the 2021 plan. These non-statutory options are intended to be the only equity incentive awards for the recipients over the duration of the performance period. The options vest in increments subject to achieving certain market and performance conditions, including top 10 TBU share price hurdles ranging from Th1 plenty share price hurdles ranging from Th1 plain 1 planets per share, and the average fair value on the grant date was in us a year price hurdles ranging from TXA 15 years. The company utilized the service a year end of 15 UNT4 funds on period and expire on the 10th anniversary of the grant date. The options have an exercise price of DCFF per share coupled with revenue and EBITDA targets measured over a Stolz model and a Monte Carlo simulation incorporating 500 sales in year can subject to achieving. Scroll is a Connect to One LTIP options. The company recognized a credit of million and 68 times million of stock-based compensation expense for the 3 and 6 months ended June 30, 25 respectively, during the 3 months ended June 30, 2025 respectively. During the 3 months ended June 30, we $20 respectively, during the 3 months ended June 30, 2025 respectively. During the 3 months ended June 30, 2025 respectively. During the 3 months ended June 30th, 2025, respectively. During the 3 months ended June 30th, 2025, here's a key point that explains those. Credit we saw earlier, stock-based compensation expense, totaling to a credit for the quarter. Scrolls are entitled to receive up to an aggregate of 2 of 10,000 earn-out shares of the company's Class A common stock if earn-out milestones are met. The earn-out milestones are met. The earn-out milestones represent F3 capit future value of these potential share value of the earn-out liability is measured at the end of each reporting period. The change in fair value of the earn-out liability is determined using 3 A3 interest or stock price milestones, including 3D3 and tandem criteria, each of which entitles the eligible stockholders to Tier 3 estimated December 31 for about 10 million, and 3/3 certain of the end of these sure respectively is the December 31 for about $10 million. At the end of each trafer, extra $4 served in June 30, 20 hours aggregate. Earn out shares if the milestone of June 30, $22.5 to December 31, 2 tower analysis of 20,000 December 4, December time Basura, as best of it. December $31 million and 30 expected future value of December 3rd, December use malleability FPBH. Scrolls Robert Travti Trace and Accident. Customer destinations, customers whose to al ALN 2 to sales of the company's products to distributors of electronic components. These distributors sell the company's products to distributors of electronic components. These distributors sell the company's products to a range of end users, including OEMs and merchant power supply manufacturers. The following customers represent us. These sites to to dual to sales of the company's products to distributors of electronic components. These distributors sell the company's products 3 and 6 months ended June 30, 2025, 3 and 6 months ended June 30, or as 6 months ended June 30, 2025. Anna in 2024, AMSI 3 and 6 months ended June 30, 2020. Customers, power supply manufacturers, or LA today 10% or more of the company's net revenues. For the Table 325, 2024, LIHE, T-Double Tevitrol, Havel Lab 2240L, A2, T-Dar, ATJ, Delbia, 4 and ended June 30, 2025, taxer in 2025. After points held at Tate of Therm 3 months. Ended June 3, their strongest 70 times of 3 months. Ended June 30, their strongest in say June 36. Hective fee does 7 aki d dots after 7 semt. 7 June 30 tafli say d2 tutradel 6 months ended June 30 70 tafiner. 20 fee to 32 into tapsect to taxipsaptas 2024 kajuj trafdel 6 months. Send June 30 tafdi kafdar tasepta perkini 24 titi 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 traffic titi. There are 3 months, 3 trade exposure, sir 8 et tenure, Hong Kong etiquette per, tatiti kiti, t30 kiki titi pk city, kiki torti kati, kiki, Scroll plans to ceasing its collaboration with Powany, currently relies on a single foundry to produce wafers for GaN ICs and a separate single foundry to produce wafers for KN ICs, and a separate single foundry to produce wafers for CC MOSFETs. Loss of the relationship with either of these suppliers could have a substantial negative effect on the company. Additionally, the company relies on a limited number of third-party subcontractors and suppliers, including due to pandemics or natural disasters, such as an earthquake or other causes, could delay shipments and could have a material adverse effect on the company. A significant amount of the company's third-party subcontractors and suppliers, including the third pandemics or natural disasters such as an earthquake or other causes, could delay shipments. 7 Avertasses working to move to another suppliers could have torn a substantial negative effect on the company, although there are generally alternate sources for cause delays sufficient to have a material adverse effect on the company. 20 solders, subcontractors and suppliers, including the third-party foundry that supplies wafers for GaN ICs, are located in Taiwan. A significant amount of the company's assembly and test operations are conducted. Berwick Vider View evaluation, disclosure, controls and procedures ensures our management with the supervision and involvement of our principal executive officer and principal financial officer has evaluated the effectiveness of the design and operation of our disclosure controls and procedures as defined in Rules 13A15X and 15T 2020-12. As a result of the material weaknesses in our internal control over financial reporting discussed below and filed in our Form 10-K for the year ended December 31, 2020. Scroll Q, adding the following risk factors to those previously disclosed under the category headings Product and Technology Development Risks and Superior Risks in the Risk Factors section of our most recent annual reports on Form 10-K for the year ended December 31 for recent annual report. One of these risk factors should be carefully considered in conjunction with the other information included in this 531, for example, TV42 Dolphin risk sectors we disclose, as well as other risks not currently filed with the SEC on May 9, 2025, filed with the SEC on May 9, 2001-25. All of these risk factors we disclose, as well as other risks not currently known to us or that we currently view as immaterial, could materially and adversely affect our business, financial condition, results of operations, or the value of our security firm. 1425 filed on May on such announcements when a value for our common stock may be affected by announcements regarding the selection of our products or technologies by key customers or industry participants, even though the events and corresponding business opportunities may not reflect binding commitments or future revenues. Investor risks related to product or technology announcements regarding on a Scrollverlook hands in establishments that use suffixes markets and create new or emerging markets. For example, the success of our strategic focus on products intended for use in AI data center disrupt existing markets and create new or emerging markets. For example, the success of our strategic focus on products intended for use in AI data center power applications depend on the acceptance of underlying new and developing system architectures for servers used in AI data center power applications depend on assumptions about customers' acceptance of advanced system architectures for servers used in AI data centers, either of which may turn out to be inaccurate unlike established markets, such as those for legacy silicon solutions, where historical trends offer some predictive value. New and emerging markets present unique challenges. Our strategic focus on products of predictive value. New and emerging markets present unique challenges. For which may for the unpredictable competitive dynamics at as little or no precedent for products aimed at new use cases, rendering traditional forecasting methods less reliable. So the established markets such as products aimed at new use cases, rendering traditional forecast. Now looking at Navitas Semiconductor's latest filing, here's my take. On the positive side, they're successfully raising capital through stock offerings, which gives them a much needed cash cushion. They're also showing progress in managing their operating expenses, leading to less cash burn from operations compared to last year. The use of GaN technology puts them in a strong position for future growth in areas like AI data centers and electric vehicles. However, there are some significant risks. The big drop in revenue this quarter is concerning, suggesting market demand, particularly in China, is weaker than anticipated. The reliance on a single supplier for crucial GaN wafers, especially with that supplier planning to exit the market, is a major strategic vulnerability. They need to execute their transition to new suppliers flawlessly. Also, the material weaknesses in internal controls, while being addressed, indicate that financial reporting accuracy could be an issue until fully remediated. The large non-cash loss from their earn-out liability highlights the volatility of their financial instruments. Overall, Navitas is a company in a high growth but also high risk sector. They have innovative technology but face significant execution risks, especially with their supply chain and the need to grow revenue in a challenging market. Investors need to watch closely how they manage the transition away from TSMC and whether they can turn their technological edge into consistent sales growth. What are your thoughts on Navitas' performance and their future prospects? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into company financials. And don't forget to join our Discord community for more in-depth discussions. Thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next one.